so this is the video to go along with the Guide to Basics 1 from DuoLingo. So basically, in these videos, I'm going to go over new vocabulary and any grammar that might pop up, like verb conjugations and pronouns and articles and stuff like that. So hopefully you won't have any questions after watching this and reading through the guide as to what DuoLingo is teaching. So, like I said in the first page, I am no way associated with DuoLingo, and this is not stealing their material. I'm adding on to it. So, Basics 1, Lessons 1 through 5. The vocabulary is pronounced as follows. Der Apfel, das Brot, du, sie, ihr. That's 3 separate words that all mean you. We'll cover that later. Essen, die Frau, gut, ich, der Junge, das Kind, das Mädchen, der Mann, die Milch, sein, sie, trinken, das Wasser. Alright, so as you noticed, a lot of the nouns have a word before them. Der, die, or das. Those are known as articles. Those are 3 of the 4 German articles, and as stated in the guide, der is for masculine nouns, die is for feminine, and das is for neutral articles. Some articles for nouns are pretty easy to guess. So, for example, Frau, meaning woman, is clearly female. So naturally, it's die Frau. And man, for the same reason, is der Mann. Some nouns, however, have rules as to why they have a specific article. For example, a lot of endings will have specific articles, as seen in das Mädchen. Any noun ending in CHEN is going to have the article das. It doesn't matter that Mädchen is a girl and girls are feminine. That doesn't matter at all. What matters is that the word ends in CHEN, and that means that the article has to be das. So there are some rules like that for that meaning that the article has to be this, but other than that, the articles can be completely random. So you just kind of have to learn them. It's kind of a pain. Even after 7 years of learning German myself, I am not perfect with articles. I mess them up probably every time I open my mouth. But it's important, especially in writing, to know grammatically which one to use. So that's why it's important. And ein and eine mean a. So for a non-specific noun, so instead of saying I want this water bottle, you would say I want a water bottle. So you would use ein or eine. And ein is for masculine and neutral articles, and eine is for feminine articles. In the guide, I next introduced pronouns, which you didn't really cover very many pronouns in Basics 1, but I introduced them because we will be conjugating the verbs from the vocabulary list. And there are 6 different conjugations of a verb, and they have to do with these 6 groups of pronouns. So the first is ish, meaning I, du, er, sie, and es. Again, those are 3 different words, but they're all conjugated the same way. Wir, ihr, and sie. And there's 2 different z's, and we'll explain that in just a second. So as you can see on the guide, there were 3 different words for you. There was du, ihr, and a capitalized z. Du is the informal you. That's one you're going to probably use the most. I know I use it the most, and it's commonly used among friends. And yeah, ihr is the plural you, so like in the southern United States, and I'm from Texas, so in Texas we say y'all. That's kind of what ihr means. It's when you're talking like yous guys, y'all. Even though correct English says you. And then the capitalized Z is also you, but this you is formal, so you would use this with superiors in the workplace, or elderly people, or in general someone you don't know very well. For example, when I go to the train station and buy a ticket at the service desk, I always say Z, and they're always going to call me Z, even though it's not like it's a sign of respect, really. So if you're really not sure what to use with someone, whether you use do or Z, I'd always use Z, because Germans are going to tell you if it's okay for you to use do. I've had many a conversation interrupted because they were like, no, you don't have to call me Z, you can call me you, or do, it's fine. So, but if you're ever worried about it, just use Z and you'll be fine. So Z, there are 3 different meanings to Z as well. Z can mean she, the capitalized Z can mean the formal you, and the uncapitalized Z, that doesn't mean she, means they. It's different than ear because instead of directly speaking to a group of people, you're talking about a group of people, so it's they instead of you. And you will be able to tell the difference between the Z meaning they and the Z meaning she based on the way a verb is conjugated. So let's get to those verbs. In this vocabulary list, there are 3 different verbs. There is sein, which means to be. It's your basic in English: I am, you are, he is. That verb, to be. Essen is to eat, and the last one is trinken, and that means to drink. We're going to start with sein because that's possibly the most important verb in the entire German language. It is also the most irregular verb in the language, and I'll explain what an irregular versus a regular verb is in a minute. Basically, an irregular verb means that there's no pattern to it at all. It's just kind of one you have to memorize and stick with it. So, as I said in the guide, there are 6 different conjugations, and they're all associated with a pronoun. So for sein, they are as follows. Ich bin means I am. Du bist. Er, sie, excuse me, or es ist. Wir sind. Ihr seid. And sie sind. So, like I said, it's the most irregular. I kind of just have to memorize it. Essen is also an irregular verb, but it does follow some patterns. So it's not as crazy as sein. So, ich esse, du isst, isst, wir essen, ihr esst, sie essen. And the last verb, trinken, is a regular verb. So, what is a regular verb, and what patterns do regular verbs follow? The infinitive of a verb is basically what is going to be given to you in the vocabulary list. So, for example, sein is an infinitive, while all the different conjugations look nothing like it. Whereas trinken is the infinitive, and there is a clear part of the word trinken that stays the same throughout each of the conjugations, and that would be trink. That is considered the stem of the verb, so that will always stay the same, and it's just the endings that change. And the endings, regular verb endings, are always going to be the same. So each of the pronouns is going to have a specific ending. So you will always, without a doubt, be able to conjugate a regular verb easily if you just remember these verb endings. It's only 6. It's not like a million. It's like in some other languages that have like an insane amount. But comparing this to Essen, stem-wise, the stem of Essen would actually be S, so ESS. But as you see in the do and the RCS form of the verb, the stem changes. The E changes to an I. That's the only way it's irregular. Other than that, the endings are regular. So just because of that little vowel change, it's an irregular verb. So, as outlined in the guide, the regular verb endings are as follows. Ich is always going to have the stem ending with an E. Du, the ending will always be ST. Sie, and S, it will always end in T. Wir, always end in N. Ihr will always end in T, just like the RCS form. And Sie will always end in En, just like the Wir form. And the Wir and the Sie and Sie form are nearly always the same as the infinitive. So like in trinken. Ich trinke, du trinkst, sie, es trinkt, wir trinken, ihr trinkt, and sie trinken. So notice how the V and the Z and Z form the wir and the Z and Z form are the same as the infinitive, trinken. And also easy to remember is that the RZS form and the ear form are the same. So they both end in T, all is well. Most irregular verbs are basically going to change the do and the RZS form, like in Essen. So while the endings may be the same, a vowel might be changed, or it could just be spelled differently. So that's usually most irregular verbs. How they're irregular, I mean. So whereas sein, being super irregular, follows basically no pattern at all. So those are your verbs, and I will create a quiz that you will be able to hopefully be able to link right on this page to my left, I want to say. Could be right, I'm not entirely sure. And you'll get the answers probably in response, or I'll figure out how I want to do that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed.